Thank you for tuning in to my tip number 6 on choral warm-ups. So many of you may use warm-ups with your choir, and I'm going to be dealing with one aspect of that, but I thought I'd start by saying you need to think about what you're trying to achieve with your warm-up. So aspects like preparing the body for the singing that's to come, the breath, and then preparing the voice for it. But also the warm-up can be used and should be used to prepare the singer's ears, to get them listening to themselves and to those around them. Also to be thinking about dynamic sensitivity in their singing, to think about the color of their voice. It could go from dark to bright and anything in between. And also you should be dealing with lightness and agility in any warm-up. So there are many different things other than just a scale pattern to sort of get the voice working. But my main point today is to deal with 3 problems that I often hear when I'm watching people do warm-ups. And that is that the accompaniment is too loud and too complicated. The patterns they're using for the singers are too fast, and they're letting the choir sing much too loudly. So if you play the accompaniment, and especially if you play with the singers, for instance, many times you'll hear a scale warm-up. The conductor or accompanist will play the scale with the singers. Now there's absolutely, and I'll say this categorically, no reason why a choir needs to have that pattern played for them. And if you do a 5-note or 3-note pattern especially, you do not need to I'm playing loud too, and probably overly loud, but you'll often hear that. So I would suggest using very few chords and very simple harmonies. So Lorraine, I asked her just a minute ago if she'd be willing to do this, and she didn't run away, so she's said she'd be willing to sing a little for my warm-up. So I'm going to ask her to hum. Okay. Now, I can tell you that she is humming, but I couldn't hear her, and I'm sure you couldn't either. So I'll give you better idea of what you should be doing. So let's try that again, Lorraine. And all Lorraine needs is to know the pattern, and then this is what we do. I can hear her, I can hear the choir now, and I can make adjustments to what they're doing if they're not doing it the way I want to. Now, you'll notice so often you hear warm-ups and the people just go from the one key to the next key to the next key in a very, can be a jarring juxtaposition. And these ideas I'm sharing with you are not my original ones. They come from John Bartolo, who I think a lot of and has written some books you may be aware of. So he suggested, and I had never thought of it before, so if I start on D, then at the end of that I keep the D in the top, but I play the dominant of E flat, the new key. So, and that takes us nicely, and then the dominant into E. So that takes us very nicely into the next pattern. So let's try that once more, Lorraine, and can we try ni, na, no, so.
Ni, na, no. Ni, na, no. Ni, na, no.
Good, and I skipped a key there by mistake. But again, you see, that's all Lorraine needs. She doesn't need me, okay? Now, often why we do that is because we think we're helping the singers. So when we play, and this is true with anthem accompaniments, so often you hear them pounded out by the accompanist because they think they're helping the singers by playing their parts louder. And that's just the opposite of what's really happening. So you need to make them more reliant. Now, the second thing that I very often hear is, and it makes me think that people are doing warm-up just because they think they should, so they're really not paying that much attention to it. They go way too fast. So there are some patterns, and Lorraine, I remember from Elmwood, had one, what was it, Nibby?
Nibby, nibby, no.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So those need to be done quickly, and that's the purpose of them, is to get the lips and the tongue moving quickly. But for the pattern that I'm dealing with now, fast is not better. So if I was doing scale, fifth, for instance, really hear again what they're doing, and they can't really process what they're doing because I'm going too fast. That kind of pattern just needs to be nice and slow. And I meant to say at the beginning, actually, the best warm-ups are unaccompanied. So there's no real need to even use the keyboard. When we did warm-ups with First St. Andrews with those simple patterns, they could go up half steps without any keyboard. So that really is the best thing. So Lorraine, could I get you to do you see, I can hear Lorraine, she can hear herself. We don't need the keyboard playing. We don't need, even if you're not playing the soprano part, you don't need to be holding the chord through that. So anything that you're doing that means you can't hear what the singers are doing is counterproductive. That's the main reason for doing warm-ups, is to get their mechanism going, but with your ears always listening and making suggestions. So if that's the only thing that this tip helped with today, I would feel it was of value, and that is to use the piano much, much less, and to use it softly, and to have most of your warm-ups unaccompanied and slow if you can. Thank you.